damn phones. Babylons can't crack the code.
Welcome to B-MoneyTrading, back at it again. Gonna make this really quick, so I hope you can keep up. As you can see here on the SPY, these are levels that I'm looking at, and you can see as this being support, and so that's why I'm really watching it. I can see in the past it's been a key level, and then if we look across, that these areas have been key levels as well. And so, you know, if you look across all the way where that line is, about the 274 area has been a key level. These are more recent levels that I'm looking at to see if they're going to be an issue or not. Hopefully, expect Monday that we'll come up and test this. People are expecting to continue to sell off. It's going to crash. It's all going to hell. Take your money out. We're all doomed. I don't believe that's going to happen. And people may think I'm a fool. And it could happen. And that's what this vlog, this topic tonight that I'm talking about is based on, is about listening to people and not developing your own trade ideas by shadowing people's trades. And how are you ever expected to be a successful trader if you continue to follow somebody? For me, I want to be the person that's doing my own trades and people are wanting to follow me. And I'm the one telling them, don't follow me, learn how to create your own trade ideas. Because at the end of the day, I'm the one taking my own gains, my own losses. And I've traded long enough to realize that shadowing people and trying to do these trading call outs, it doesn't work because your account's not the same size as theirs, you don't know the share size they're taking, and then you don't even know if they're legit. You know, for all you know, I could not be legit. I try to be as open and honest as possible. I show you, I calculated all my trades, how much I'm down. Recently, I did one a few days ago, I was down 330 bucks. I think I'm down 300, around 300 now. I haven't done a recent calculation, but you know, if y'all request a video, I'll go through each one and you can see one by one exactly how much I'm down in my trades. I also want you to know I added last Friday to IQ, MU, and ACB, and we'll go ahead and post those up really quick. How much I added 5 shares at 1973 is the average, and that's the total cost that I paid for all 5. And I'm down on this trade $10.44, about 3.5%. And we'll go to the next one. Gonna try and make this really quick. That's the wrong one. That's I. Let me look at that too and see how much I was down on it. MU is the one. MU, I'm down on this trade $15.28, a little over 5%, and I have 7 shares. I added 2 shares on Friday for $36.89 was the average cost, or the cost that I paid for them. I got them at, and that was the total. And my average for all 7 now is $38.67, and the stock is at $36.49. So it's down a few bucks from where my average is. Luckily, I'm holding 7 shares, so I'm not down too much. But we're looking at the percent wise, and 5.64%. That's a little getting up there. I'm not too concerned just yet. You know, I know it's a good company and that it's got a lot of potential. It had some things about the inventory and digital currency, cryptocurrency, hitting rough times, and so people are believing they're not going to need their graphics cards and whatnot, but they're really, MU is breaking ground and really gaining on other Intel companies that have been around a little bit longer. And you know, a lot of these stocks that I don't sit here and read the balance sheets with you because it's quite boring, and I'm still new to learn how to read balance sheets, but I am getting better at it through practice and getting better comprehension. A lot of things that I do learn, I learned just from watching other people, and you know, tonight's video is going to be talking about listening to other people. And if we know that a majority of people, we'll go ahead and look at this really quick and we'll get back to that. So 10 shares, I bought them at $5.99 last Friday for ACB, and that puts me at 40 shares with an average of $6.92. I'm down about 35 bucks. A bit high on this, but the marijuana stocks, this one and CGC, these are going to be long-term plays for me. I wouldn't consider them so much swing trades. I would consider more of a long-term investment, and I'm not going to sit here and explain why, but basically it's as if a pharmacy comes out and does a trial and gets approved for their trial run on whatever drug and whatnot, and you see it jump. Well, this isn't a pharmacy, but it's waiting for approval. It's got approval in Canada and certain areas of the U.S., and ultimately it's just waiting to gain overall. And so trying to accumulate now before, and it doesn't necessarily mean that just because weed gets legalized that this stock in particular is going to go up or even succeed. It could end up having to file bankruptcy if it has bad management and doesn't know how to perform and produce without spending more than it brings in, and ends up taking on too much debt and then having to file bankruptcy. So a lot has to do with management and what it's going to do. I looked at the balance sheet on this one as well, and I liked what I was seeing. So holding on to that one, still accumulating. And so what I was going to get back to was about listening to people. And if we know that 90% of traders, I believe that's the accurate percentage, don't succeed and fail, then why would we listen to a majority of the people that are on Facebook, these trading groups? I mean, even with me, I don't sit here and do call-outs and try and tell you this trade, that trade, this trade. I tell you, this is what my strategy is, this is what I'm looking at, this is what I'm doing, and this is how I'm managing my risk. Because ultimately, the thing that's going to separate you from being a successful trader versus other people is the ability to manage risk. Yes, you want to be able to do good technical analysis and look at things, and a lot of things I look at aside from technical analysis is we know that the G20 is coming up this Friday, G20 summit. Xi Jinping and President Trump will be there. I don't expect they'll reach a trade agreement, but I do expect that they'll make progress towards reaching one. And as well, we know that the holidays just passed. We know that oil is at a low point, and we'll keep an eye and see what happens. I know, like right now, that the SPY, and I'm keeping a close eye. So obviously, what I'll be watching Monday are the stocks that I'm holding, as well as the SPY, to see what it does. And I have diversified my portfolio. There's quite a bit of tech and marijuana stocks in my portfolio, and then some communications stocks. But anyhow, so we got about 3 different types of stocks in my portfolio, and yeah, I am running a quite big risk holding so many tech stocks in my portfolio, but I believe that they've just been way oversold, that they're worth a lot more than what they're going for, and that's why I'm accumulating positions. Don't get me wrong, if the SPY, I'm watching the SPY, and if it gets to a certain point, then I will look at taking some off of my positions and waiting to see what it does, further on before I start accumulating more. And but basically, what happens with a lot of new traders is they don't understand that stocks don't go straight up or straight down unless you're going to day trade. I think that's the closest you'll get to a stock going straight up or straight down, and it still isn't even that close. And usually, market open, that's about as close as you'll get. If market open and it takes off, then that's about as close as you'll get to straight up. And if you're in that trade for less than 5 minutes, or even less than a minute, in and out. For me, what I'm doing is swing trading, and then I have my weed stocks that are going to be longer term investments, possibly long-term investments. And then right now I'm accumulating as long as we stay around this 263 area. Once it starts breaking it, then that's when I have to really start looking at taking some off my positions. I'd expect Monday it may play around with this area or even come up. I don't think it'll dip too much further below it, no further than what this one has back here. If it does break the 260 area and continue to show momentum to the downside, then yes, I will start looking at taking off some positions. Up to that point though, 260, I'll probably still continue to accumulate. I still have about 500 left of buying power, and I like to add maybe another 100 or two Monday, depending on what the market does. And you know, I have multiple stocks, and the reason why is so that if one of these comes out with bad news and after hours or pre-market, it's just that one, and so I don't have it making up a huge portion of my portfolio, so I won't expect it to be a huge drawdown. It would be a drawdown, but not a very big one, versus if all my, you know, capital is in this one, or if I'm holding 75% of my capital in this one trade, you know, and basically because I'm limited to 3-day trades per 5-day rolling period because I'm under 25,000, then, you know, obviously, you know, I'd only be able to do 3 trades, and I can easily use 3-day trades up in one day, if not 1 hour or 2 hours, easily. And so with what I'm doing is a swing trade strategy, accumulation, scaling in as well as scaling out, and I have certain points that you know, I'm willing to risk up to a certain amount before I have to start taking off positions, and I'm willing to continue to scale in and add to a certain point, and then once it becomes, you know, really too big of a risk, that if it did go down, it you know, or go down much more, that would be a huge drawdown, then I have to wait and just hold on to where I'm at and see what the market does. Maybe even take a few shares off of my position to lower my risk and my capital, so that once it does get to a point of certainty, I can get back in. So with that said, that is 12 minutes, so not bad. I might try and post tomorrow, not sure. If not, then I'll see you on Monday morning, and we'll go from there and see how the market opens up. I expect it'll open up strong, but really the question is it going to be able to hold its gains? And you know, the past 2-3 days it's taken off strong, and it hasn't been able to sustain. You know, it's been, you know, after 10:30, 11:30 it starts selling off, and you know, even my account reflects that. You know, I can pull up the SPY real quick, 5-minute and 5-day, 5-minute, and we can see, you know, it took off here, and it had pulled back and came back, but wasn't able to hold it, and it sold off. Then you know, after hours we're able to come back up, and then you see market opens, dips down a little bit, and starts coming up, showing some bullish, and then it just sells off, and then right before market close it really tanks down. You know, same thing the other day, you know, big strong takeoff, and then it just sells off and comes right back down. And so hopefully come Monday it's able to get up to this 266 area and hold it. You know, just looking for it to make a little progress. I'm not looking for it to take off and just keep going. I mean, if it did, that'd be great, but it's not realistic how the market moves. I'd expect hopefully that it would gradually, you know, it might have a big long candle or two open, but that it would continue to gradually move up throughout the day, and maybe, you know, towards the end you'd see some little sell-off and it hold most of its gain. But the problem is it just keeps, you know, it gets some, but it loses a lot more than it gets, and that's why we see that we're down here at the 263, and like we pulled up on the 4-hour is a key support area, and so I'd expect that, you know, this is the 4-hour 180 days, so this is going back 180 days to back here, and each candle represents 4 hours. That's why you only see 2 candles in this color. Basically that's during market hours, and then the dull gray color is in after hours, what it's doing. And this is just for the new traders that aren't aware. These are 15-minute candles and this one is the 5-day 15-minute. So it goes back 5 days, and each candle represents 15 minutes, and that's why you see more candles in the black versus the 4 hour, because each candle represents 15 minutes. And being new to trading, you know, especially doing technical analysis, different traders look at different time frames. I try to keep an eye on all time frames. I probably favor the 4 hour more, and then I keep an eye on the daily to see where we're at. And you can see, I mean, it's just bam, you know, it doesn't get that much. And so we see this area that's been about the lowest, 256, 255, and you know, obviously we're in bearish territory, but just because we're in bearish doesn't mean the stock market's going to crash, and I think people forget that. And you know, I'd put up a question earlier today, what people's thoughts were. You know, I keep hearing that, you know, it's due for a crash, it's due for a crash, and you know, back in I was about to wrap this up, but it was a really good topic, and I got a lot of response on it. We'll do the 20-year 1 week. So back in this is when the housing market crash happened, back in the 08 and in 09, and so it just basically sold off. But you know, keep in mind, the government, U.S. government, jumped in and injected trillions of dollars to prop it back up, and they didn't let it naturally do what it was going to do, which I believe it was going to go a lot lower. And instead, they, you know, jumped in and started injecting money and pushing it back up, which caused, you know, the taxpayers basically bailed them out unwillingly, whether they want to or not. The government decided we're going to, you know, borrow more money, print more money, which devalued the money that was in people's pockets, the, you know, the middle class, the lower class, even the rich. I mean, it all devalued all the dollar by, you know, quite a bit in order to prop it up. And now the dollar's come back strong and building up. And so another big thing is the interest rates. So we got the G20 summit coming up. Also, the Fed, I'm not sure when in December they're going to announce whether they're going to hike or not, or if they are, and when it would happen. But that's another thing I need to keep an eye on in the market. And so really overall, there's quite a few things that I look at to see what's going on. And, you know, we'll see how that all plays out, you know. And you know, I look back here and I'm like, you know, people thought that we were gonna, you know, it was gonna crash. It was gonna crash, especially when you got down here to this 254 area. It's gonna crash, and you can see if you would have accumulated within this time frame and held for a month or two, that you could have made out pretty good. And really, if you would just continue to hold and accumulate more in this area, then you would have made out pretty good. And which is not likely, and people always like that, like, oh man, if I would have just, you know, held, and hindsight's always 20/20, you know. And you see these people and they talk about, you know, yeah, so you do this and you do this and this and that. Yeah, you can tell now because it's already happened. But why couldn't you tell me that in you know, live chat in that moment, you know, that this is what's going to happen? And you know, even the best of the best can't tell you what's going to happen. They have an idea. We all have an idea, and that's the whole point behind this channel, is to help you and help stop you from making, you know, costly mistakes, especially starting out, and as well for you to learn how to form your own trade ideas and follow your own strategy and plan and see what works for you. I've given the day trade a go, and it was all right while it lasted, but it just, you know, I tried those pair of jeans on and they just didn't fit too good. You know, did all right, but just at the end of the day, you know, I need something that's gonna, you know, continuously give me long-term gains, not just temporary short-term gains, but a long-term gain. So this is where I'm at, why I trade the way I do, as boring as it may be. It's what works for me. So hopefully here within the next few weeks, I'll be able to show y'all, like, this is, you know, though I'm down around $300 right now, that is like to add, that hopefully here in the next few weeks you'll be able to see, like, I'm up, you know, $400, $500, $600 in these trades. and only time will tell. Only time will tell if I'm right or if I'm wrong. I believe that now is the time to accumulate, and if I'm wrong, I will only admit it. I've told y'all before, I think the market's gonna go up, tomorrow with this area, and it's gonna touch this level, and I was completely wrong. I did the exact opposite, and that's just how it is. Sometimes you hit the nail on its head, and sometimes you miss, and so that day I'd missed. Hopefully, though, overall in the long term, in the course of the next few days or weeks, that I am right, and we'll see how it plays out. So with that said, now we're at the 20-minute mark, so have a good night. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned. I'll come up with some more stuff hopefully tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then Monday morning for sure. Have a good night, and I'm out of here. See ya.